Well, I feel bad because I never wanted to make one of these videos in the kitchen while I'm doing stuff. But you guys, if I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it because it's just been nonstop around here. I read chapters 15 and 16 days ago, and I have not been able to read chapter 17. So I'm just going to do a video on chapter 15 and 16, and when I get to read chapter 17, I'll do a video on that. I just don't want to keep you guys waiting. I know many of you are reading along with me, and it's kind of unfair that I haven't done the video yet. So I'm really sorry. Things are unusually busy, and it's because it's this season, winter. Food truck season is non-existent. We don't have sports. We don't have, the days are shorter, so we have a lot of house time at night. So we're doing a lot of projects, and so that's taking up our nights and our weekends, and it's really fun. It's just not really leaving much time for all the other stuff. So, chapter 15 was about 1,000 sharings. And I didn't write much. Maybe it was really short or something. So anybody who's watching this, we're doing a study. We're on chapter 15 already. You might want to start from the beginning. But the way I do it is I'm not leading a book study. I'm just one of many people reading this book. And we're all sharing our thoughts about this book together. So I'm no expert. I'm not trying to be. I'm just reading this book and sharing with you what sticks out to me, what spoke to me, what I found interesting, and allowing you to do the same in the comment section, opportunities to chat about it or just share what you thought. So what I thought in chapter 15, I wrote 1,000 sharings. What was I talking about there? I forgot already because I read this so long ago. I was trying to get 17 down before I did the video, and it was just never going to happen. So I wrote down 1,000 sharings. Oh, that's the name of the chapter. I love it. Okay, so the only thing I wrote was shag, laughing out loud. Because if anybody has seen Austin Powers, I don't know. Sorry, I guess it's a dance that I'm not aware of. I know salsa, bachata, y merengue. That's pretty much it. So I guess shagging's a dance, and that's one of the ways they met. And then I talked about friendship, or I wrote down friendship and intimate friendship. She said the first thing you think about when you hear the word intimate is usually sexual, and yeah, I can see that. But really, honestly, for me, the first thing I think about when I hear the word intimate is closeness, deeply close, rich relationship. So that is what she's talking about. So I guess that's good, but that's what I think about when I hear it. But what? Oh, I'm doing this backwards. I'm putting oh my goodness, I just put dirty mugs away. Hold on. Not good, not good. See, this is why I have to do one thing at a time. I think that was all of them. Okay, I'm loading the dishwasher, not emptying it out. All right, so intimate friendship, closeness. And then, that was really interesting where she talked about the separateness creeping in. I can totally see how true that can be, because when you are dating, you want to be together constantly, right? You want to do everything together. She probably said something like that. And you identify with each other more than anything. And you'll do anything together, even if it's not that fun. Like, I remember a time when I would go to Home Depot with Hector happily, and he would go shopping with me happily. Now, it's like, do I have to go? And he's like, do I have to go? And I'm like, no, please don't, there are going to be things that we like to do without them, and that's totally fine. And there's going to be things that they like to do without us, and that we don't mind that they like to do without us. And that's totally fine. But the point of this chapter isn't trying to tell you to do everything with them. It is trying to tell you to cultivate that closeness, that intimate relationship, to not do everything separate, Hold on. Little one needs me. So, that separateness creeping in is so scary. And that, I feel like that probably is the most apparent when as a mama, and my husband would agree with me on this, and this is a very general statement. It doesn't apply to every family in the world. It applied to mine, and I've talked to many moms that can agree. That doesn't mean it's everybody. So please, I feel like daddies take a little longer to catch up mentally and even like life-wise when kids come along. Not because they don't love their children, not because they don't want to be a father. It's just because it's a harder thing for them to give up their life, to be selfless. For a mother to be selfless, it's almost like duh, you know, like it's just gonna happen. That's just obvious. You see that baby come out of you, okay, you're mine. I'll do anything for you for the rest of my life, you know. Daddies take a little time to get there, and that, like I said, is a very general statement. And even if it's at different degrees, I think that most daddies could agree. Having a baby rocked their world. Sure, it was filled with joy and wonders, but it was also like, what in the world? What about me? You know? And it's hard to give things up. So that's where separateness, I think, could easily come in, because the mama all of a sudden is completely devoted to this little new things, every desire and every need, and the daddy still wants to, you know, stay up late and watch a movie with you, but you're thinking of, oh no, I gotta nurse in 2 hours, and no, I gotta do this for the baby, and this and this and this. And so they might start doing stuff on their own, and in the beginning it's totally fine, but then little by little they do more stuff on their own, and it just becomes the new norm, that you don't, you know, have a lot of things that you do together. And so honestly, I think the way to avoid that is to intentionally not let it happen, because I think that could easily be the natural progression. If you don't pay attention to it, it's just gonna happen. You have to be intentional. You have to be. You have to be. I was talking to a young lady at church who is a psychology major, specifically in like family psychology, and I was asking her all sorts of questions because it's so interesting to me to know like statistics about families. Like, if I do this and this and this with my kids, what do statistics show, you know? And she said, one of the things that she said that really stuck with me was, most of the time people want a different childhood than they wanted them for themselves, for their children, but they don't do anything different. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering this. Basically, the main thing she was communicating to me was the people that change things from one generation to the next are the ones that are intentional. If you're not intentional, nothing's gonna change. So, I'm remembering other dirty things I put away. So, I wonder if that's dirty. Just to be safe, I'm gonna put it in the dishwasher again. So, for me, I had a great childhood. I really did. Even though I did not grow up with my father, my mother adored me, and she definitely was not perfect. She made a lot of mistakes. She was not a believer, did not teach me the gospel. I didn't hear the gospel till I was in high school. But I knew I was loved, and still, now I'm a parent, and my kids knowing they're loved is not the only thing that matters to me. They need to know the gospel. They need to know they have a daddy. They have a totally different life than I did. And we're very, very, very intentional about not speaking to our children the way we were spoken to. We were spoken to harshly and down at, you know? Yes. Sure. Let me send her a text message. You know, very discouraging, disheartening ways that we were spoken to, my husband and I. So we try to do the opposite. We try to encourage. We also apologize to our children when we do the wrong thing. And then, of course, all of that is intertwined with the gospel and scripture. So it's a totally different approach to parenting, and we're being very, very intentional. So it was really encouraging for me to hear that statistically, which means nothing to God, but still it's cool because there's some truth to it. One generation to the next, biggest impactful changes are when that next generation is intentional. And so intentional. If you want your marriage to be happy, joyful, successful, rich, close relationship, it's never just going to happen by itself. Oh yeah, that study, the people that weren't intentional just naturally gravitated towards how they were parented because that's what they knew. So that's just what they did. So when you're not intentional, what do you naturally gravitate towards? What you've seen, right? If you were brought up in a home with a bad marriage, probably going to do that. Or just your sinful nature, being selfish and proud, right? So we have to be intentional because that separateness can creep in and you want to spot it before it begins and, get it before the gap gets wider. And so how can you achieve closeness? Enjoy some things together. Not everything the same, but some things. And creating commonalities was chapter 16. So I'm going to pause it for a minute to text the neighbor. My boys want to play. Okay, chapter 16. Creating commonalities. The first section is about his work. And this has been a huge learning curve for me because I didn't have any men in my life growing up. So I have had to learn. I entered into marriage with a very poor understanding of what a man's work is to him. And it's been quite a learning experience for me as a new wife then, and now learning with my husband what a man's work is to him. And it has brought some conflict and confusion on my part because I've had to learn and not understand, So I definitely never saw this modeled at home, asking, how was your day? What happened during your day? So that's something that we like to do over dinner. We always ask Daddy, how was your day? Tell us about your day. Did anything funny happen? Did anything interesting happen or out of the ordinary? And he'll tell us things. And I mean, since our kids are easily amused, being so young, he'll tell us things that are, an adult, he wouldn't necessarily share with a group of adults, but the kids love it and they feel a part of his life, his world. Which I think is really good. So just, things like we took down this really big box and we opened it and it was filled with something. I don't know. For me, on the other hand, like I'll ask him I'll refer back to stories that he's already told me. And I'll ask like the current status on that. Like, hey, whatever happened with that? How are things with this or whatever, I also ask him if he's had any opportunities to share the gospel or to encourage anyone. And then his play. My husband has so many, it's really hard to keep up with. Anyone who has dreamer husbands, visionaries, you understand. My husband is interested in anything and everything, and I am boring. So it's really hard for me. By the time that I'm done with my day, all I want to do is shower, get something delicious to eat, and sit down and just like watch something, So I have to put forth a lot of effort, and I could probably be significantly better in this area than I am. But I can comfort myself in knowing that I do some things with him. There's just so many things that he likes. It's hard for me because I'm a very like task-oriented, let's get things done, productivity kind of person. He likes to get very chill and slow approach to the day, and when he puts his mind to something, he does it, but not always at the timing I want to do it. So if I'm like, cool, tomorrow we're working in the yard, what do I envision? Get up, get dressed, eat breakfast, start the yard. Not him. He envisions get up, stay in bed, have breakfast, lay down again, and it's like, when are we starting the yard? after lunch. And then we're like out there till 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, he's a night owl. I'm not. So it's funny. But big tangent, sorry. I do have to stop and enjoy just sitting down sometimes with him. I really, really do. When we first got married, he used to call me the little ant because I was always like doing stuff, getting stuff done, and he would be like, hey, sit down, come here and just sit with me. I'm like, okay. He wants me to sit down. And as far as the things I like to do the active things the most. I like to do the relaxing stuff, but usually not in the day. I like to be active all day and then chill at night. So when it comes to movies or, sitting down and relaxing, I would so much rather get all of the things checked off my list before I stop and relax. But I need to learn, and I have learned, that the list can be paused, sit and relax. Okay, pick up where you left off. And it's just hard for me. And then that list was pretty funny. The very unique things on there. I would love to hear the kind of stuff that you would enjoy together, not just by yourself, together from that list. The things from this list that we would enjoy together are baseball, watching baseball, boating for sure, camping. I don't like camping. I like getting there, being by the fire, eating there, and then going home and sleeping in a bed and having running water. But I would camp if he wanted to. Canoeing, dining out, fishing, hiking, kayaking, movie going. Also not that fond of that, but if there's a really good movie and if he really wanted to see it, I would gladly go, but definitely like at the bottom of the list for date night for me. Opera, yes. Reading, shooting, traveling, walking, weightlifting. Those are all things that I know he would enjoy for sure, all of those things, and I would enjoy doing with him. Aside from those things, there's plenty of things that I would enjoy. I didn't write dancing. How funny. Dancing. Hello. Dancing. We love dancing. Oh, and golf. He would love to play golf. Okay, maybe I missed a few. It's okay. So, his world. I really didn't write anything on that section. But I totally agree. I was talking with a friend once, and I wish I knew what book she was referring to when she told me she had read a book that the wife was saying, if you just sit and watch your husband do something and not say anything, just sit there and watch him, that is so good for them. Like, they love it. I think it feeds their ego in a healthy way. And it makes them feel admired and like they're impressing you. It's like this. I mean, seriously, guys, when they say men are just little boys at heart, like they're not in an insulting way. Like, there's truth to that. Little boys like to show off, and little boys like to test their strength, and little boys like to see, how dominating they are, and there's so much just fulfillment in that. I don't understand it because I'm a girl, but there is something to all of this, and I'm seeing it more and more as I have sons. The other day we were at a friend's house and my son was hanging on to another guy, and they were both not angry, checking who's stronger, checking who's tougher, checking who is the king. There is something to all of this. It's so funny. And our husbands still have that in them. So when they see us impressed by them, or just like, wow, by them, or just watching them, there is something happening positively in their mind. And so after that conversation with my friend, I came home and I noticed that when Hector's working on something, he always wants me there. And very often I'm like, I could go be doing this other thing while you do that, But he's like, no, just be with me. And I'm like, but I can't do anything. He goes, it's okay, just be with me. I'm like, okay. I feel useless. I could be doing the dishes right now. I could be doing that. No, he's like asking for this thing that he probably can't even pinpoint that is so gratifying to men. So I would love for you guys to like just do a test. Anything. I mean, your husband installing the TV against the wall. That's a real example. How random if that wasn't a real example. Installing the TV against the wall. We had one of those things that you can hang the TV on the wall, and he installed it, and that was one of the times where I said, let's all sit on the bed and watch Daddy, and we all sat on the bed and watched him, and it was just like silence, and he was quiet working, but he like looked at me and smiled, and he's like, I'm so glad you're here, you know? And it was so funny. I could like see it happening right before my eyes. So do a test, find an opportunity to like watch your husband do something, if it's working out or building something or working on something physical, not like the computer, you know, something physical. And it could be something small, you know, and I would love to hear like how you use that opportunity to say, wow, I didn't know you could do that. That's really awesome, or whatever. Use it for an opportunity to boost his ego and just watch him and admire him and tell him he's awesome. And I would love to hear how his demeanor changes when he knows that his wife is just like so impressed with him. That's all I wrote for 15 and 16, but I will definitely try to read 17 soon. I'm sorry about this rash I've had the whole time. Been scratching it. I think a bug bit me. And yeah, you guys have an awesome Monday. Got my first daffodils picked of the season. Woo! They're so beautiful. And they're on my windowsill. Spring is in the air.